Hey guys, Marcus here with DesignIY. We're going to take another look at the bathroom remodel. This time we're going to be getting into all of the rough-in and all of the mechanical changes that we need to do before we start putting all the finish work back together. So what all do we have to do before we put all the finish work back together? We got to make all the mechanical changes. We're going to move the toilet across the room, move an HVAC supply duct and size it appropriately for the room. We're going to patch all the subfloor, make sure everything's level, build a new wall, and get rid of any last bit of demo that we have to do before we can start thinking about drywall and tile. So we're coming back. We're going to start putting this thing back together. As you can see, the bathroom's fully demoed. It's pretty much where we left it off last time. I did a couple things over here with the laundry chute, so got all those things out of the way. And we do have a couple things left to remove before we start adding back in. And those things are going to include all this plaster. We have all this plaster in the wall that's just been falling through the lap over all the years. So it's filled up to, I don't know if you can see it, about here, which is roughly 18 inches off the ground or so. And we're going to just remove the lap all the way around. Anyway, you get the idea. Just going to do that all the way around the perimeter. When we come back, we'll deal with those wires we just found and anything else we might come across. Anyway, we need to end up patching this area of floor here where the laundry chute was, and then all this floor where the tub was, right around it was rotted. And we'll need to patch this hole from where the ductwork was. So I'm thinking just remove this top layer of flooring here from there all the way down and over, and we'll just replace it with one big solid sheet, and obviously cut our holes for our new plumbing and such. And in order to see all the nails, I laid it on its side so that you get these really long shadows right where the nails are. Welcome back, all. Finally starting to get this wall put up. It's not just sitting here. I got it screwed to the floor. Went ahead and swept out all the stuff, get a nice flush, even surface to install that to, and used our speed square over here. Probably could have used a bigger square to make sure it was square with the back wall here, but this is what I had, so that's what we made do with. That being said, we have our 60-inch stud template, so this should fit in the front and in the back. Just snug like so, and that way it's 60 inches in the front and in the back. And as we work our way up, this is very loose. So as I screw it to these guys, Dad put a cross brace here. I'm going to put another one and another one yet. I haven't done that yet, so we can suck it to the wall like so, making sure that it's entirely 60 inches across all the way that we go up. So I gave up that night. It's not going to go through. Ceiling definitely dips down right at this joint here, and it seems to be flat for the rest of it. So I hope that doesn't cause too big of an issue with our drywall ceiling, but went ahead and ripped down this 2x4, so now it's an inch instead of an inch and a half. Table saw didn't quite like it, but it's pretty cool because I've never done something like that before there was a kid, so have to put that in for good use. So we're going to try to smash it up there again and hope for the best. Okay, so before I could measure for my subfloor, went ahead and swept everything, got it all nice and clean so our measurements would be accurate. There's a couple other things I'll have to address before I can actually lay the new piece of subfloor, and that's this guy right here. I got a big vent opening there in the floor, and we're going to move it over to the other end. And then way back in the back, that's a laundry chute, and that cut all the way through the subfloor just like this guy. So we're going to have to find a good way to splice some 2x8s, which I bought, and patch up the subfloor so that we can go over the whole thing with a new 1/2-inch sheet to match this side. So it's kind of difficult to get the camera in here while I was working, so I just figured I'd just show you what I did. And these are the new 2x8s that I spliced. This is where the laundry chute was. There was a built-in cabinet here, you can probably tell there on the wall. The paint's all different and whatnot. Anyway, these are 2x8 joists, and as you can see, the one over here was actually cut out so that we have the tub drain, and this new one was spliced in, which is why we have two of the floor joists so close together. With that being said, this one's actually going to have to be cut again for our tub drain, or sorry, our toilet drain. And I wasn't too worried about it since it doesn't go the length of the house anymore. This is the one that we need to keep, and that one can stay with the location of the toilet. But off to the side of the toilet, we still had that laundry chute to patch, so I did use those two 2x8s and went across from the old one to, again, the one that's already cut. So I'm going to save that bit of it because my floor patch is screwed to these guys, which are screwed to the other floor joists. So we're going to keep that, and we'll go back up top and see what we can't do from there. So really what's only holding this plate in, since this is just screwed to those 2x8s, are the two screws from below on either end, on either 2x8 that's going into the existing joist. So, but I don't plan on stepping here since this is our rough end for our stool. So I'm going to go ahead and call this okay, especially since we're going to go ahead and go over the top of it with 1/2 inch, and that'll be supported on every single floor joist out here. So continuing, your most common rough end for a stool is 12 inches. I went ahead and did 13, and I did it from the left. Still undecided if I'm taking that off or not, since there's nothing but brick on the other side. Next bit is I found out how horrible I am at cutting through a floor anything over an inch or so. So this is the product of jigsaw and reciprocating saw and whatever else. Hit several nails on the way through, so it's really ugly cut. But I finally got our ductwork thing to fit, and I just got a 4x10, which is a pretty standard size opening, so that will actually fit. And there's a little brace in the way, so I took that out from the basement. So we're going to go ahead and install the vent and get rid of this guy so we can patch him up. So as I was going through the video, I realized the ductwork really deserves a whole video of its own. It's a topic and a lot of a discussion that we'll just save for another video. But I'll show you what I ended up with. Here's a photo from the basement view showing the old ductwork, just this big clunky thing that's actually supplied by a 6-inch round in the back. So I kept that 6-inch round, rerouted it to the other side of the room, and cut a much smaller hole in the floor that I'd have to cut around for the tile. Much more appropriate for the room. So anyway, that's another surprise. Directly after doing this, I was trying to patch up that hole and found out that my plywood sheet wasn't going to go down until I took out the door jamb from the door to the bathroom. So we had to remove that before we could get the sheet down, and we'll pick up right there. Alright, new battery. Take out the door. As you can see, we made quite a bit of mess, so now I got to clean again. But the problem is, my board is way too big, so I missed cut it. Look at that. Anyway, she's down, she fits. So at this point, we know where she's going to be. We'll go ahead and dry fit our tub and find out where our drain's going to be and make our cut, and then we can fix her down to the floor. That is, a lot of people don't take big cups once they get in. So now I'm going to make a mark where the drain's at and cut out around it. But I think today this is going to be all. Another thing you'll notice is that I centered those studs on the new wall with the wall and not with the new tub. So the framing's a little off. I want to make sure my valve can still fit with that stud there and still get plumbing to it. Either that or I might have to notch into it a little bit in order to get my pipe to fit. So I want to make sure that valve is going to fit fine in that location. So that, and then that's where we want to mark our drain location. And then we'll take the whole thing out, take the board out because we didn't screw it down, make the cut, and put her all back in. Or try. And finally, the bathroom's starting to identify as an actual bathroom instead of a heap of pile of dust and rubble of 100 years, right? So anyway, if you're like me, you're starting to see at this point, this is why you pay somebody to do all of this work, because it's all the unseen things, all the rough-ins, all the mechanicals, all the subfloor changing, stud leveling, nail pulling, dirty work that seems like there's no progress at all, that really gets to you. Nobody wants to do that. That's why you pay somebody else to do it. Or at least that's what I was thinking at this point, a whole lot. And believe it or not, there's more to come. But that's where we're going to cap it here for today. So I really appreciate you following along for the ride. I know it was a lengthy video, but I'm sure you understand with all of the progress that we've made here in this video. Here real shortly, it's going to start getting a little bit more pretty, as long as I can keep myself from making changes along the way. So drop me a thumbs up if you like this video or thought it was insightful in any way. Drop me a thumbs down if you absolutely hated it, but leave me a comment, tell me why you hated it so I can earn your thumb in the next video. Until next time, subscribe to my channel and you'll see more of this progress as we make it. Thanks guys, hope to see you on the next one. We're signing out.